2 prior attempts to kill ex-Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko may have been made before he died from radiation poisoning in 2006, the BBC has learned. The one-time officer with the successor to the KGB fled to the UK, where he became a fierce critic of the Kremlin and worked for security service MI6. A public inquiry into the London death of the 43-year-old opens on Tuesday. Mr. Litvinenko's wife says he blamed the Kremlin as he lay dying in hospital, but Russia denies any involvement. Marina Litvinenko says she hopes the judge-led inquiry at the Royal Courts of Justice will provide answers about what her lawyer described as an act of state-sponsored nuclear terrorism on the streets of London. The inquiry will be chaired by senior judge Sir Robert Owen, who was originally appointed as the coroner at Mr. Litvinenko's inquest. Sir Robert delayed the inquest and called for a public inquiry because the inquest could not consider sensitive evidence due to national security fears. The UK government resisted the move at first but later changed its stance last July, amid worsening relations with Moscow over the crisis in Ukraine. The death of Mr. Litvinenko, who took British citizenship after his arrival in the UK, had already led to a clouding of relations between London and Moscow, with expulsions of diplomats from the embassies of both countries. He died 3 weeks after becoming violently ill in November 2006 following a meeting with 2 former Russian agents at the Millennium Hotel in central London. UK police say radioactive polonium-210 was administered in a cup of tea, and identified 2 suspects in the case, Andrei Lugovoy and Dmitry Kovtun. But the 2 Russians have disputed their claims. The issue of who was ultimately responsible for the death will be considered at the inquiry at the Royal Courts of Justice. Parts of the evidence will be heard in private, and Judge Robert Owen says it is inevitable that some of his final report will stay secret for security reasons. The police officer who oversaw the investigation, Peter Clark, the former head of the Metropolitan Police Counter-Terrorism Command, says Mr. Litvinenko's death was unprecedented. There was a very strong forensic trail left behind because of the way it is suggested that Litvinenko had been attacked, he said. But what was unusual, of course, was having radioactivity involved. Speaking ahead of the inquest, Ms. Litvinenko recalled her husband's deathbed claim at University College Hospital, in which he said Russian President Vladimir Putin was responsible for everything that happened to him. It is also understood that Mr. Litvinenko was visited in hospital before he died by his MI6 handler or case officer.